Hello everybody, this is Keith Bell from the Gut Club, thegutclub.org, and today we're going to be discussing kefir grains. And the grains that we are producing are called Ketosana Advanced Kefir Grains. They can be purchased through thegutclub.org. They are a special grain. They've been enriched and developed in France using several different kinds of kefir grains from around the world, and also incorporating well-researched strains of lactobacillus and other protective bacteria and yeasts. So they're quite a unique kefir grain. They are grown anaerobically. And let's take a look at what you'd be receiving if you were to order them. They come in a box like this, a small cardboard box. Really the most adorable box that I've ever seen, actually. In fact, our postal carrier was blushing when she first saw them. But inside the box, you will find some instructions, and the instructions will help you out. But let's go ahead and discuss really what the instructions are all about. It helps to see them. It helps to see instructions in action. That's why we're making this video. Inside of your box, you'll be finding a small jar that has the grains inside of already fermented milk. In fact, the way we ship them is with fresh milk. So when they arrive at your doorstep within 3 business days, that's the service that we're currently using, then they're already fermented, and that helps the grains stay alive in transit. The kind of milk that we're using in our fermentation is grass-fed milk that is ultra-pasteurized. It's a whole milk. It's important to use grass-fed whole milk. And I like to use grass-fed milk. There are many reasons for that. I'm sure that you're familiar with them. We can discuss those in a future video. But basically what you want to do when you receive your grains, you can empty them into an 8-ounce jar. This one's a little bit more than 8 ounces. But you want to find a jar that has a tight lid. Because we're growing these, remember, anaerobically, without air. And you can empty the entire contents of this jar into the new jar and fill it with milk and wait 24 to 48 hours and then strain out the grains after that period using a nylon strainer. Here's what a nylon strainer looks like. This one's I've just been using. So you can get the picture. But let's open this jar, and if you'd like, you don't have to empty the entire contents into a new jar and then add fresh milk. You can strain the grains out first if you'd like. And why don't I show you how that looks? There could be some pressure built up. It could be difficult to open this jar, but this one opened pretty easily. And then you empty the contents into your strainer. Okay. And then you can use a metal spoon, or if you'd like, you can also use a wooden spoon and push the kefir through the nylon strainer. It doesn't take long. And then left over, you'll find the actual grains. Our grains are very small, but mighty. Since they're grown anaerobically, they're not particularly high in yeast. So you'll find that our grains are small, but powerful. This is what the grains look like. And then what you can do is empty those into a new jar. It's an old honey jar, a little tight. You develop a strong wrist when you do this. Feel free to laugh now. Empty that into a new jar, and then fill it all the way to the top with milk. Try to do it without spilling into your keyboard. It's not so hard. Okay, there we go. Basically tighten it up and cover it with a dark cloth, because not only are we growing these anaerobically, but we're growing them in the dark. So find a dark cloth and cover up your jar so that light cannot affect the fermentation. And this is simulating what it's like in our intestines, especially the small intestine, which needs to be populated by lactobacillus in order to be healthy. That's where a lot of the gut-brain communication takes place, actually, by way of the vagus nerve. Lactobacillus actually has the ability to raise oxytocin receptors by way of the vagus in the brain. And then when you have more oxytocin, you have, well, things like greater immune response and also things like raised empathy. So why don't we, why don't we pretend that we've been fermenting this kefir for 48 hours. So it's lactobacillus dominant. We're actually going to be testing our kefir grains soon using microbial DNA stool kits provided to us by BiomeSite. So we'll know the full range of microorganisms. I'm excited to see the results because I believe that we're going to find protective Bacteroides as well as protective butyrate producers and hopefully a lot of different strains of protective lactobacillus. So after 48 hours, you'd have your jar that's already fermented. This one's ready to roll. I used a leftover natto jar here. That's a good discussion for a future video. Natto, of course, is the Japanese staple that is fermented using Bacillus subtilis. Okay, but here we're using that jar because it's a good sized jar and good to make kefir. This one is really quite well fermented after about 48 hours. Let's pour that into our nylon strainer. Okay, and then use our metal spoon. In fact, why don't we get the Chopin cranking up again while we do this. The kefir grains love Chopin. Just kidding, you can use any kind of music with your kefir grains. You can talk to them if you like. I ignore mine. Except I give them a lot of loving attention without speaking directly to them. Feel free to laugh now. By the way, I think we'll be premiering this video on my 59th birthday in 2 days. Hence the music. I'm hoping that through microbial balance, I will be able to extend my life and live a long, healthy life. There's a lot of research about longevity and microbial balance. You need to have those lactobacillus, butyrate producers, bifidobacteria. Those are all in kefir. Okay, our grains are ready to scoop out. That's what they look like. They're small but mighty. They look like cottage cheese. And what we're going to do is reuse the same jar. You can reuse it a few times, at least, before it needs to be cleaned. So we'll take the jar that we used originally and put the kefir grains directly in. Let's get them all out of the strainer. And then we fill up with fermented milk and we're ready to go. Not fermented milk, rather grass-fed milk. Oh, here we go. You can use raw milk at a later time after you have enough grains that they can successfully ferment with those competing microorganisms. Okay, here we are. So we're ready to wait then. It couldn't be simpler. Ready to wait another 24 to 48 hours, depending on how you like your kefir. We've seen some informal study showing that after 48 hours, lactobacillus become dominant, and we intend to confirm those findings. So thank you very much for watching. Please give our kefir grains a try, thegutclub.org. It's really quite a bargain because what they offer is really a lifetime supply of probiotics. And also, when they are fermented in whole milk, those milk fats play an important role in giving them a fighting chance to live through the gastric acid as well as colonize the intestines. So that's about it for now. Hope you have a great day, and thank you very much for watching. Keith Bell, thegutclub.org. Have a great day. Thank you.